Good morning. Good morning to another Monday Improve Your Grade the 1% Way with DTE-Elite. My name is Dave Foster. Hopefully you've been seeing some of my other videos, etc. And this is number 5, I think, in the series of how to get a better grade or even pass your part 3. As explained previously, this is about really being able to pass the part 3 or getting a better grade. It's exactly the same test, so all the same criteria follow. If you are trying to increase your grade or get a better thing, remember it can't be done overnight. You're not going to leap from a 31 to a 51 overnight, etc. You inch away at it bit by bit, and this is going to help. And today's competencies that I'm going to look at, or the competency, is: was the pupil encouraged to analyse problems and take responsibility for their learning? Okay, well, this competency comes under the teaching and learning strategies. Okay, this is because really teaching and learning strategies are the skills. It's the bread and butter of the driving instructor, the bread and butter of the teacher. This helps us to form things like the risk management, etc., and lesson planning. It's very strongly linked really with sharing the risk, where it says, was responsibility for risk shared, etc. This fits in with this. Also was sufficient feedback given. We talk about one of the competencies there, and at the end of the session was sufficient feedback given, and more of them really. You get this one right and it can really link with a lot of the others. Certainly the ideal of it, if you're doing this, it's very difficult for an examiner, for example, to differentiate. They really want to hear the questions answered. But anything you do in this one will really work towards many of the others. So, what is analysing problems and taking responsibility for the learner? Well, basically asking questions. This is a simple thing. Remember, the thing I try to always give people is a simple view. It's a lot more complex, but it is about asking questions. But it's asking the right questions. We spoke on a previous video about a tendency for driving instructors to naturally revert to telling. We naturally, because we're teachers, we want to help people. We think by helping them our way is to just tell them. But again, this is so true here. We mustn't be telling. We need to ask them questions. A pupil asks you a question. What is the speed limit on this road? Fight with all your heart, not to just say, oh, it's a 30, didn't you see the sign? I mean, so wrong really, because first of all, you're telling them, they're not taking any and not encouraged to analyse. Also, didn't you read the signs? That sort of thing really makes them feel about 3 inches tall, and makes them feel stupid, which we're obviously trying to avoid doing. But it links in here with, as we need to allow the pupil to discover. So we need to allow the pupil to discover, where possible, the answers. Let's go for, as I said, what is the speed limit here? Your pupil will ask you, I don't know. Well, what clues could there be? Okay, were there some signs back there? Yes. What else, etc., could have helped you with the speed limit? What else, etc.? Remembering, I mentioned this before. Remember the what else question. What else could have helped? What else could you look for? What else could you do, etc.? So you're really encouraging them to analyse it and fully analyse. If you're asking the right questions and allowing your pupil to analyse, you are also sharing the responsibility, because it's a two-way thing. If you are just telling them, you are not sharing the responsibility, you are taking it. So it's important that these questions are asked, etc. Now we know that always, not always pupils will, but we'll come to that in a minute. Ask the right questions and enough of them, then sufficient feedback will be given. Also in theory, that's something else which we covered. So in theory, it will be. It's asking enough questions. What is the speed limit here? What, if you just say, well, what signs did you see? Oh yeah, there were 40 back there. Did they see them, or are they guessing from your question? Oh, I missed the signs, What else could have told? Bringing in more questions can actually help confirm the learning, confirm that they understood what you're asking for. But my pupil does not like answering questions. Oh, how I have heard this so many times. It's all over the social media. When I speak to them, they don't like, they just want to be told. Well, of course they just want to like to be told, because that's the lazy approach for them, isn't it? They're great at making you do all the work, pupils, by just keep telling, etc. Remembering you turn it around. I was reading a book recently about coaching, and it talks about the lazy coach. The lazy coach asks questions and makes the pupil do the work. Now, it is sometimes true, etc. You do get pupils who don't like being asked questions, etc. Some I have in the past, particularly Asian ladies who have always been told that when it comes to men, that they must not answer questions from men. They expect men to tell them, and this is a cultural thing. It's becoming less and less, but do be aware of the cultural thing. And there are obviously some that do not like being asked questions, with maybe possibly learning things, etc. But it's often the instructor who just reverts to telling because it feels easier to the instructor. And this is where you've got to be honest. Is it really the pupil, or is it yourself? Because there's many instructors out there who ask questions all the way through of all their pupils, and it is unlikely that you have got just the pupils that don't like asking questions. It does work. It's going to seem difficult at first, but if you keep trying and analyse your own question, it gets easier. Find out what questions work, what don't work, what seems to happen, what do your people like. It really is about getting that right relationship with your pupil as well in the first place, making sure that you've got that rapport with them, so they're happy to feel relaxed in your car, they're happy. And it's very important that you never ever make them feel belittled with an answer. There really generally is no stupid question or stupid answer. Well, there isn't really, but if you feel something is a little bit amusing, then just share it later with somebody else, a colleague, a friend, just as a bit of a, but there really is no silly question, but don't let the pupil feel it. Questions like, what do you want to do today? Get very little response. Why? Because it's too general. What do you want to do today? Oh, I don't know. Anything really. You're not really going to get the response that you want. It's too general. Try questions like, what do you feel we need to cover on this lesson? Refer to the progress record if needed. It's a bit more specific then, because they're going to be thinking about what they need to cover. What do they need to cover? Now, it may be that they don't want to be doing that manoeuvre, but they will feel they need to cover it. Well, I feel I need to do that reverse around the corner or that parallel park again, because I'm not very good at that. They don't want to cover it, so they wouldn't have actually said about it in the first one. But what do they feel they need? They're going to give you. Looking at the progress record and ticking things off, etc., again will give them a good idea of what they should be working on. Or what would you like help with today? Another quite a good question. What would you like me to help you with today? A pupil nearly always has concerns in their head about their driving between this lesson and next lesson. They may have thought, well, I wasn't very good at that roundabout, or I wasn't very good at this. So what do you want me to help you with today? I could do with going back and doing that roundabout, David. What do you think? Yeah, that's a good idea, if it fits the plan. And again, not what went wrong there, but how could you have done that better or safer? Emphasis on you, because again, we are getting the pupil to share that responsibility, getting them to take responsibility. Not what could we have done better, because you could have done it better yourself, you know what you could have done, but what could they have done to have made it better or safer? What were the risks in what you did? Blah, 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 fill in whatever it is. And remember the and what else. It's not just one risk. Look for several risks if needed. What help would you like for me to achieve this? Again, you're asking them what help they can give you. So they're helping you to encourage them to take an active role in their learning. Trying using the words feel and think in your questions works well. But please remember, praise their answers. The pupil needs to know they're making a valued contribution. I would often ask a pupil something like, what do you feel might have happened there? They might give me some answer and I might say things like, well, that's really interesting. I've not thought about that before. That's a good one. Yeah, I like that. In reality, I've heard it many times before, and of course I've thought of it, but I'm trying to give that pupil that confidence. I'm trying to give them the credit for what they said. Oh, that's interesting. If you're ever on a classroom course with me and you give me an answer and I say something like, oh, that's interesting, I've not thought of that before, please forgive me, because I probably have. But don't fall for this trap. And this is something I see not just in driving lessons, I see this happen in instructor training, and I see this happening in other things as well. A little story. On a classroom training course that I used to present, we used to have to ask the clients what causes speeding. No prizes for guessing what the course was about. Clients, there were 24 of them, would often list many reasons, and we'd write these down on a piece of a large sheet of paper or a dry marker board, and we'd write them down, and we would often fill one or maybe two large sheets of paper with them. Brilliant, wonderful, great, you know. But some of the trainers then would almost pull this list over and then write their own list. What about these though? Think about what that would do to the learners, or in this case the group. What are you actually saying to them? You're sort of saying to them, well, their contribution was wrong or rubbish or not worthy, etc. Do you get the point? You know, if what they gave was valid, it doesn't matter what I think or what you think or what somebody else thinks. It's what they think, providing it's valid. If they give you noteworthy examples, use theirs. It's far better than giving them yours. So, how to improve your grade the 1% way, your homework, so to speak, for this week. Each lesson, I want you to start trying to ask more questions of your pupils. Try to get them to take responsibility. Start using it in how do you feel and how do you think questions. And again, that what else? It's very similar to what we were doing before. So drill it down and get them. And how can how can I help you get the pupil to encourage there? That is the end of that one. Again, like every week, I always give you a little thing to say that plug my products, so to speak. Shameless plug, I know, but again, if you are looking for books, there are books that I have generally wrote to help you, etc. They've been developed over 20 odd years, based from my master's degree in driver training education. They're written alongside the DTE-Elite syllabus, and if you're looking for some extra help, there are many products here. A particular note to you guys would probably be the 31 lesson plans that's listed there, or next to it there is the lesson planner, again both written with the DVSA syllabus. All of my books, you will get facts from the DVSA based on the highway code, driving essential skill, not the myths, fables and lies that you will often hear on social media. Well, thank you very much. That's the end of today. Okay, I shall check in with you Friday or Saturday to see how you're getting on, and we'll see how we go. Otherwise, look forward to speaking to you next Monday, just the same. Thank you very much. Bye for now.